So the key takeaway in this video, and we're not talking about fast foods, is that if you want to grow muscle, you absolutely have to hit your protein and your calorie targets. Andre, so what is a calorie?
Sean, simply speaking, calorie is the amount of energy contained within a food.
Andre, what is meant by TDEE?
So Sean, TDEE is the total daily energy expenditure. That's the total amount of energy your body burns during the day. It's made up out of a few components. The one being BMR, Basal Metabolic Rate. That's the total amount of energy your body burns when you are at rest. There's also energy burn associated with doing exercise. And then there's something called NEAT, Non-exercise Activity Thermogenesis. That is the energy you burn when you are fidgeting and moving around. You actually consume quite a lot of energy that way. And then there is what they call the Thermic Effect of Food, or TEF. You actually do burn energy, you require energy when you are metabolizing your food. All those components combined give you a total, which is the total daily energy expenditure.
So Andre, how do I align my calorie intake with my specific goal?
In terms of your goals, I think it's firstly important to know what your requirements are. So if we've done the calculations for your TDEE, let's assume that you require 2,800 calories per day. If you eat that, you will maintain your current body mass. It's obvious, following from that, if you eat less than 2,800 calories, you will lose body weight, hopefully fat and not muscle. And if you eat in excess of 2,800 calories, your body mass should go up, hopefully predominantly muscle mass. But you will also gain some fat in the process.
So are there specific guidelines in terms of the exact amounts of protein and calories?
Yeah, the guidelines in terms of calories we've just described now would be your TDEE. That gives you a good base to work from. It's not 100% accurate, it's all estimations, but it gives you a good starting point. In terms of hypertrophy, there are some guidelines. In terms of your protein intake, again, we need to emphasize that for hypertrophy, two critical factors: hitting your protein goal and also hitting your calorie target. Combined with resistance exercise, those are prerequisites for building muscle mass. In terms of the protein guidelines, the latest research indicate that around 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight is a target for physically active people. In the old days, the bro science used to say you aim for 1 gram per pound. So if you weigh 200 pounds, equates to 200 grams of protein per day. It seems that we need slightly less protein than we previously thought, and that would equate, the 1.6 gram per kilogram would equate to about 0.7 to 0.8 grams per pound of body weight. So if the goal is hypertrophy, you need to eat in a surplus. So in your case, it will be more than 2,800 calories per day. Don't start off with a huge surplus. Probably around 200-250 calories surplus should suffice. First do that and see whether your body mass is increasing. If not, you can maybe add another 50 calories. We used to think that you have to overeat quite substantially, but with that you will carry a lot of additional fat that you will have to cut back later. And we do not want to do that. So start with the smallest effective dose in terms of surplus of calories and see if that works for you. So those are some guidelines for your protein intake and for calories. In a further video, we can actually delve down into the details of designing a nutrition plan. But the rest of the calories will be made up, obviously, out of the other two macronutrients will be fat and carbs. And for some people, a higher carb diet will work better. For others, a higher fat approach would work better. But once you've estimated your protein, which is the important one, you can play around with the carbs and the fats. I think another important point to highlight is if your goal would be to lose body mass, and again let's say it's to lose fat, a crucial factor is that you do want to limit the amount of muscle mass that you lose. If you diet too aggressively and you don't take care, you will lose muscle mass and not just fat mass. And we want to try and prevent that as far as possible. Two ways to do that is obviously to do resistance exercise, but secondly, again, the protein intake is then important. Now we are in a calorie deficit, but to try and hang on to that muscle, we need to up our protein intake beyond the 1.6 grams per kg or the 0.8 grams. Probably then the 1 gram per pound comes into play, and amount higher than 1.6. That is actually crucial for hanging on to muscle mass.
What if I am a hard gainer?
If you're like an ectomorph type body type, you find it very difficult usually to gain muscle. All the other points we've already made still apply. It's still important that you hit your protein target. You need to obviously do resistance exercise. I've seen it working with athletes before, that they do everything correctly. They do very intense training regime. They eat in what they think is enough food, but simply they do not increase their muscle mass. So I think the rule is for a hard gainer, that surplus needs to be higher, and sometimes considerably higher. And the only way to really see what is going to work for you is to actually experiment and up your calories, and if you still don't gain muscle mass, just increase that further until you start seeing a difference on the scale.
So if you found this information helpful, please remember to subscribe. So until next time, think muscles.